Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kastuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kastuba. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Thursday's study. Academic study of the Srimad-Bhagavatam.
Now, slow down.
It's sort of academic and sort of fun. It's sort of a performance. It's dramatic reading of the Srimad-Bhagavatam by Raghunath. It's a show. It's a show. I always wanted my own show. I've got it. Srimad-Bhagavatam fulfills all desires. I'm here live with about 30-somethings from our retreat with, I was going to say weekend retreat, but it's a weekday retreat. How do all these people get here? Wow. Don't you guys have jobs? Who can just take off for the week? Raise your hand if you have jobs. You can't get good employees. They're all employed, yet they all took off this entire week.
Well,
to
people
be here
take
for this
vacations,
retreat.
and it's lined up close with the Memorial Day weekend.
Is that it? They're all like,
that's
no,
already gone.
but you don't know. You've never held a real job.
I thought we had lined up. No, it was the last retreat we lined up with the Memorial Day weekend. That's right.
Don't speculate about these
don't pay attention to
professionals.
these
You and
things.
I have never had jobs. The last job I had, I was hustling pizzas at Domino's when I was 16.
Really?
Then I went like monk, rock band, and here I am popping around as a yoga teacher.
You never did the bike
How
messenger
are you?
thing?
You're getting over your sickness?
Not yet.
Never did the bike messenger thing. Wasn't cool enough. It was like the cool kids bike messenger.
Okay. Raghunath, were you living in the
arrogant?
Do you hear me?
Ugh.
We seem to be having trouble.
I hear you. I hear your bike messenger talk.
It seems like there's a lag or something because we're having trouble like lining up with each other. But I wanted to ask you a question.
Oh, really? Everything's perfect here.
Well, was it yesterday? Because
everybody turn off their Wi-Fi's.
Can we have a conversation? Can we go back and forth? You
Yes.
ready? You hear me? Okay.
Go.
Were you living in a bizarre amber haze yesterday?
Yes, bizarre amber haze. It
It's
was bizarre
crazy.
amber haze. It was sort of beautiful and sort of like, is it the end of the
Creepy.
world? Did you ever have one of those days like, this might be the end of the world?
Yeah.
One of those days.
Yeah, it felt like
Yeah.
that, especially in the city, right? Where it's like it just kept like this. It's coming from these forest fires up in Canada, right? All this smoke.
Yeah, I checked the air. I checked the air quality of
was
Mumbai
over-
and New Delhi this morning.
And
we're
we
worse.
crushed it. Way worse. Delhi is like usually around.
No, not way
200.
worse. Not way worse.
No, way worse. We were
way
at
worse.
We were at 300, over 300 yesterday.
Oh, really?
And Delhi's usually like 200.
Oh, that's way worse.
Way worse. Yeah. But
Delhi
it
was
just,
150 this morning, and we are 176 this morning.
yeah. So now it's
They
cleared
didn't
a
have
lot.
these type of things when we were little.
No,
They didn't have these.
But
Type
they
of
had
indexes
smog.
when we were little. We were just like,
they had smog. But
I know,
the
but
weird
it
thing was
wasn't
that
public information.
the weird thing was like everything turned like the tint kept getting
It was
heavier and
a lovely
heavier.
tint.
until it was like you're looking through sunglasses. Like it was bizarre. It was weird. It may come back.
Yeah.
It may
that
float
is
over us at
called
any moment.
Kali Yuga, my friend.
Yeah, we're in living some. I mean, I don't know. There are forest fires, I guess, before Kali Yuga, but I don't know. Maybe it is related.
Yeah, there was probably forest. Well, forest fires are quite natural. They remineralize the earth, but it's sort of like Mara's Kitchen when they try to put out the forest fires, they spray so many toxic chemicals on the earth. It's unbelievable. Like Mara had a fire in her kitchen. That's horrible. But what is it? Like layers and layers of powdered toxins. Like you can't even go in your kitchen after that. They had to bring in special firefighter remediators. They just like, first of all, they bashed down the door and then they sprayed this poison on all her products.
Yeah, that's all true.
It's all true. So it's like the fire is one thing, then cleaning up after the fire. I think in the forest fires, they just let it sink into the earth.
All right.
Anyway,
we got announcements.
Now that we're thoroughly depressed.
I was just gonna say, in my kitchen, it was a lot of the damage was from the burning plastic of the bus tub too. That is, as you can imagine, really bad to go into the air.
Burning plastic, what?
There was like a plastic bin that the towels that caught on fire were in, and so it like melted completely, and so there was a lot of like everything was contaminated with this burning plastic that had been airborne.
Gotcha.
Oh wow, Jiu-Jitsu Nuff says up in Syracuse there were 400. That's double Delhi.
Oh wow.
Well, guys, be a little appreciative. New Delhi and Mumbai, they're living like that, like it's the norm.
That's what I told my wife. I said, look, this blows through one day. I'd rather live with 300 for one day than 200 every day,
Every day, man. New Delhi is a mess.
Okay, Raghunath, come on, let's get this moving.
Let's get this going.
We got a nugget and it's a long one, but we haven't heard the announcements yet, right?
Yeah, we got some announcements for you. Remember, Saturday is Rath Yatra. Hope to see you there. We're gonna have a little Wisdom of the Sages table. We're gonna have a little kirtan around the table. A lot of you guys who listen to the show, we haven't met you yet. Come up to our table.
Come to the table.
I want you to come up to me, hook my pinky. Let's hold pinkies together for about a minute and look in each other's eyes, embrace. Kostuba's gonna be there. Give him a big hug, kiss him on the neck, and Mara's gonna be there. Look at Kostuba. I just wanted to see his reaction. And Mara's going to be there. We're going to have kirtan. We're going to distribute cookies. If you're a cookie maker, make some cookies. Offer them to Lord Jagannath, and then we're going to distribute cookies, and we're going to sing all day long. That's going to happen after the parade at our table in Washington Square Park Saturday.
Yeah, we're there all afternoon from.
We're there hanging out.
Practically from noon onward.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Mara's going to be there. She's looking for pillow fights with any takers. Yeah. And what else we got? So, and also there's space left for our retreat that weekend. We have a good group of people.
2 spots left.
And Friday, we found out, is not open to the public. So people are talking about Friday coming. It's just for that whole retreat that weekend. So if you're interested in that, go to bhakticenter.org. Miss Mara.
Also, tonight at Super Soul Farm, Madhava is coming for Kirtan.
Oh, yeah.
If you're local and you want to join us at 7 p.m., email us at supersoultrainings@gmail.com. There's still some spaces. And there's the Bhakti Recovery Group meeting at noon today.
Madhava tonight, 7 to 9. Even if you're not local, just come.
All right.
All right.
What would you do if Madhava just came out with a totally different style? He was like switching melodies and getting rowdy. And you'd be surprised, right? You're like, what?
We're going to play a cover song of Leonard Skinner. Maybe you know this one.
Called Freebird.
What? He's not gonna.
No.
All right, here's our nugget.
You can depend on him. You can depend on Madhava. You know what you're going to get.
Yep. Yeah. All right, here's our nugget for today.
Who's it from?
This is from Anthony Hopkins.
Sir Anthony Hopkins.
Sir Anthony Hopkins. And he was in Silence of the Lambs.
He was in many other things, Raghunath. He's one of them. I think he's...
It was a very, very creepy thing. He was... Silence of the Lambs. I don't know if you've seen that movie.
And I
It's a
didn't.
very, very disturbing movie.
Okay, but he's like he's amongst the most respected British actors. He's a classical Shakespearean actor, as well as a movie star.
Yeah. We had a friend that was in that movie.
Now, Raghunath, this nugget, it's a long nugget, right?
So are you telling me to stop talking? So we just read this.
No,
nugget?
I'm
It's a very
talking.
long nugget.
I'm just talking. That's all I'm doing is I'm talking. Okay. But I've read a bit up on Anthony Hopkins and found that he kind of, as he grew old, as he aged, he began to his faith in God kind of developed. He was kind of an atheist when he was younger, and but to me, what he shares here is it's definitely about aging, right? It's definitely about getting older, and it's about looking at life in a different way, letting go of a lot of stuff as you grow older. Hopefully developing the wisdom that a lot of the stuff that I'm hanging on to, I can just let go. And you know what? I just don't have time for a lot of the petty stuff in life. And although this isn't like, although what we're reading isn't, I suppose what I'm saying is like, there's not a deep theological element here. I think there's a theological element playing in it, like in his realizations, because I read other things that he's talked about, that as he began to have faith in God, he began to see the world in a different way and let go of a lot of stuff.
Okay.
And I think there's a lot to learn from what he has.
Well, that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
Let's get into this. I know that I have less to live than I have lived. I know that I have less.
In other words, I have less days to live than I have lived.
Gotcha. Okay.
He's a Shakespearean actor, Raghunath. He's gonna.
I know that I have less to live than I have lived.
There you go.
I feel like a child. I feel like a child who is given a box of chocolates. He enjoys eating it, and when he sees that there is not much left, he starts to eat them with special taste. Oh, isn't that like our life now, me and you, Kostuba?
Do we eat with special taste?
We're eating with. I feel like I'm eating with special taste now.
Okay.
I have no time for endless lectures on public laws. Nothing will change.
That's a very zoomed out.
It
gets balanced as we read on, but it's powerful.
Right. And there is no desire to argue with fools who do not act according to their age.
That's important.
And there's no, you could really extract and give purports on each one of these sentences.
Definitely.
And there's no And there's no time to battle the gray.
You understand that? Like, in other words, I don't even need to try to not grow old, right? Like trying to.
Oh, is that what you meant by the gray? Okay.
I assume, right? To battle the gray.
I thought it meant by like the gray. Yeah, I guess it is the battle. Okay. I don't attend meetings where egos are inflated and I can't stand manipulators. I'm disturbed by envious people who try to vilify the most capable to grab their positions, talents, and achievements. I have too little time to discuss headlines. My soul is in a hurry. I say this to you sometimes, Kostuba.
Do you?
I do.
What do you say?
I say things like, there's no good news out there. And you're like, no, news is important. And I'm like, no, it's not important. You're like, no, it's very important.
I don't.
We have a balanced perspective. We have a news war occasionally. But I'm with Anthony Hopkins. I have too little time, Kostuba.
I have too little time for the news headlines. I got plenty of time for Instagram, automobile crashes, and marriage fails.
That's interesting stuff.
Okay.
You know what? Well, you know why marriage fails are important, Prabhu? And this
shows
very
the
philosophical.
Of the material world.
Not just the frailty of the material world, for
because
like the best event of our life can all go wrong in a moment. And I think it's the best material event of our life. And I just watched an entire compilation 2 days ago of marriage fails. And there's a wedding fails. It's not marriage fails, it's wedding fails.
Wedding fails.
And there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them out there. They're getting married in this beautiful.
You try to arrange everything.
Arrange it like perfectly. I've never arranged a marriage. Mare was just telling me what are the details of arranged marriage? It's like flatware, chairs. Do you want gray chairs or wooden chairs?
Yeah, there's just like a lot of different
list.
choices on every tiny
Give us the list. Give us the list.
well, because the weddings I cater are usually in barns, so they have to bring everything in. So it's like, oh, which kind of napkin do you want? Which color, which fabric napkin? How do you want your flatware to look? Do you want silver? Do you want gold? Do you want the modern style? What kind of plate do you want? Do you want china? Do you want,
Yeah.
rimmed? It's like just
Do you want
and
the
that's before
fork
they even get to the menu.
lying across the top of the plate?
Yeah.
Or do you
there's,
want
like,
it
and
on
then
the
the flowers
side of the plate?
and then dresses? It's like a million billion.
It's
decisions.
like, it must be overwhelming in choices. You must just feel exhausted from those choices. And then after all that, after taking out a loan to pay for it, you fall into a swimming pool because your best man drops the ring, trips. Oh my God. Anyway, I don't know how we got on that subject.
Let's keep going here.
All right.
Can't stand manipulators. I'm disturbed by envious people.
Candies left in the box.
Okay, there you go. Soul is in a hurry. That was an interesting
Soul's
phrase.
in a hurry. My soul's in a hurry. There's too few candies left in the box. I'm interested in human people. People who laugh at their mistakes. Are those people who laugh at their mistakes are those who are successful, who understand their calling and don't hide from responsibility, who defends human dignity and wants to be on the side of truth, justice, and righteousness. This is what living is for. I want to surround myself with people who know how to touch the hearts of others.
This next line is big.
Right? Who, through the blows of fate, was able to rise and maintain the softness of the soul, right?
In what sense?
Whatever you're going through, huh?
Yeah, so in one sense, it's all about the heart becoming softer and softer and softer, right? So that our theology is largely about that, right? It's just like our heart is hard. You could say our heart is hard to God, but you could say just in general, like, and as we go through life, it's really meant to be softening that heart so that we're capable of feeling and expressing true love,
Mm-hmm.
So I think through his sincerity, he's understanding a lot about life.
Okay, continuing on. Yes, I hustle. I hustle to live with the intensity that only maturity can give. I'll eat all the candy I have left. They'll taste better than the ones I already ate. My goal is to reach the end in harmony with myself,
That's yoga.
my loved ones, and my conscience. I thought I had 2 lives, but it turned out to be only one, and it needs to be lived with dignity. What does that mean? I thought I had 2 lives.
I'm not sure about that either. That one left me a little confused too.
I like it. I like it. Good nugget. Kostuba picked that nugget. Giving you credit for that.
Thank you.
I would have never been like, let's go through everything Anthony Hopkins ever said. See if he can get some.
I have another little quote from him. He said, I feel every day as I get older anyway, that it's all a miracle.
Mm.
I mean, my heart beats, my lungs breathe. This is an extraordinary phenomenon. It's like, you could imagine in his younger life, he's a successful actor. He's getting accolades. He's getting knighted by the queen. And it may be taking life for granted, so many things for life for granted. He's saying, as I'm getting older, I'm realizing that just how much everything is a miracle. This statement about his goal, my goal is to reach the end in harmony with myself. In one sense, that's a very yogic statement, right? Because like in Bhakti, the idea is like the soul's got this nature, and it's an unchanging nature. So we need to harmonize the body and the mind, which are also called the self. Like the word Atma or self, refers to the soul as well as to the body and the mind sometimes.
Mm.
So that my mind is in harmony with the nature of myself, that my body is moving in harmony with the nature of myself. That we call yoga, and we should try to get there before the end,
Right.
Anyway, all of this reminds me of one conversation that our friend Shyamasundar Prabhu had with Srila Prabhupada when he was reading him the works of all these different philosophers. And he asked Prabhupada, are you saying that all of these philosophers, they had no God consciousness? And do you know what Prabhupada's response was, Raghu?
No, I don't.
He said their sincerity is their God consciousness. Their sincerity. In other words, when one actually searches for truth sincerely without any motives, right? With a lot of times when we're searching for so-called truth, we're just searching for something to substantiate, to rationalize our desires, our attachments.
That was a really powerful statement, Kostuba.
You like that one? What did I say? What did I say?
I don't know, but I got to rewind that because that should be like Kostuba. Kostuba.
But I could summarize it again. It's that commonly when we're so-called looking for so-called truth, really what we're doing is looking for something to rationalize or substantiate our own attachments.
Right.
So true sincerity means I'm searching for truth without any of that. And if it leads me to God, then I'll accept God. So Prabhupada was saying, like, that's their God consciousness. You know, Krishna is commonly referred to as the absolute truth, right? The absolute. Prabhupada uses that phrase commonly when he speaks about Krishna, the absolute truth, meaning that truth, which is not relative to anything. Like yesterday we were living in an amber fog. That was true, but today we're not. It was a relative truth. And, you know, I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm American, this, that, all of these so-called truths that we exist within are relative truths. As you get older, you see that and you begin to try to see, where's the anchor? What is it? What's behind it all? This is a miracle. Who's creating these miracles? Who or what is behind it all? And that sincere search, right? Without a lot of times, like you get certain, oh man, I saw some video yesterday, Raghunath. Maybe I'll talk about it later.
Are you scrolling again, Kostuba? What did I tell you about scrolling?
Well, I was scrolling, Raghunath. This wasn't scrolling either. This was Googling, but in any case, it was a debate between Richard Dawkins, the, in my mind, ridiculous, kind of atheist author, and a scientist who was a Christian.
You're just scrolling through various scientists.
Well, it was an interesting debate, Raghunath.
No, I'm just
it's a problem.
I'm watching Wedding Fails. You're just scrolling through scientists.
I didn't mean to. Yeah. I see. That's where this is coming from. So I'll get in. Maybe I'll get into that a little later in the show. Okay. But my point is like you take a guy like Dawkins. Is his scientific research, is it sincere? Or is he just looking for something to substantiate his own issues?
Right.
Because some of the stuff that he puts forward are such weak arguments. Like, you're obviously like an intelligent man on one level. How can you put forward so many like weak ass arguments that are just absurd? That are just like so short-sighted or so narrow. So Prabhupada said that their sincerity is their God consciousness. I see tremendous sincerity in Anthony Hopkins in what he's sharing here,
Back to Anthony.
All right.
That
May came through 12 steps for him too, I think that.
What's that?
I think he struggled with alcoholism, and I think 12 steps may have helped him a lot with that kind of thing,
They definitely bring people to higher consciousness for sure. Yeah. Okay. What do you say we dive into the sweet Srimad-Bhagavatam?
Let's do it.
Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudiraya. Before we start in the Srimad-Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshu badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam, and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 18, Text 24.
Whoa. Okay, moving
Boom.
fast. Getting serious. So Lakshmi Devi's still speaking, I believe. Or did we finish Lakshmi Devi yesterday?
I think we're due.
Moving on to another Varsha.
I can't remember.
What's the text number again? Say it again.
Text 24.
Okay, we're moving on to another Varsha, another area of the universe today, where one of the Manus is speaking.
Manus. Again, there's Manus are the. Describe a Manu.
They kind of are the through. If you take Lord Brahma's life, which is like incredibly millions of years long, within his lifetime, there are how many Manus? It's like 16 or something like that. I forget. But they're just kind of like a universal ruler in a sense, a universal upholder of law.
It's where we actually got they're considered the fathers of mankind.
And we're Manu. Yeah, man.
It's where we get the English word man from is from Manu, and they were the Prajapatis?
They were also progenitors. Yeah,
progenitors.
I mean, I suppose the universe goes through these different cycles, of creation and destruction, and Manu's rule over certain eras, very long eras.
I love this idea of universal rulers, and we're completely oblivious, like ants. You know what I mean? Just like yesterday, we're building a patio here, and we needed some stone. So I pick up this big stone and I throw it to the side. And there was an incredible civilization under the stone going on. They're all like busy at work, running around. Some of them are carrying a dead body of another insect, and some of them are just giving birth, just pumping out various eggs. And I was just like, what? And I was like, and you know what I was like? I was like, I am your universal destroyer. I was like, I am Lord Shiva right now to these guys.
Whoa.
Well,
you should have been thinking more like I am one of these little ants, not I am the universal destroyer.
I know. Well, I got this power trip because I lifted it up, and then I was their overlord, and I felt like I felt like you didn't even know I existed. Now, just feel my wrath. No, but I didn't do anything. I let them be in peace, of course. But my point is, those little buggies, I don't even know what they were. They were going on with life. They were partying, working hard, doing their duty, laying their babies, and eating, drinking, being merry under that rock.
Very industrious. Very industrious.
Very industrious. They got a plan. They had a plan. They had a program. They had they've got a future. We're going to do this. We're going to create this, and our colony will survive. And all of a sudden, here comes the universal destroyer lifting up their rock that they didn't even know existed. They were down there like, why should we pray to some god? It's just us.
Yeah. Well,
there's Raghunath right above you. And there's more of me out here too. This is us in the universe. There's millions of higher beings. And we're completely oblivious thinking, oh, it's just us. So let's get back to work. We're going to work hard and create great success. No, at any moment, one of the elements can just wreck us, and one of the deities of the elements can wreck us. What to speak of?
Our rock.
Yeah.
Yes, like suddenly our world was orange yesterday. It's like, what?
We're like an arrogant bug.
Well, Raghunath,
arrogant bug laying eggs.
You're bringing me.
Sarah's just sitting here laying eggs, and I'm carrying dead bodies. Oh, we're gonna feast tonight. Oblivious.
We got your point.
Okay.
Mara's laying eggs, and
Mara's laying eggs.
You're
as
powerful.
She knits. As she knits, she's laying eggs.
But what you're saying is bringing me right to the Dawkins thing.
Okay.
All right. So this Dawkins made some point, and this guy was rebutting it.
Mm-hmm.
And he just kind of said, I expect better of you. You're an intelligent man. You've got your degrees and all that, but some of your arguments are just like so childish. And he pointed out one in particular, which is in the dedication of the book, The God Delusion, Richard Dawkins' bestseller, The God Delusion.
The God Delusion. He's like it's an arrogant ant. Go on.
Okay. So in the dedicate, he dedicates it in memoriam to Douglas Adams, with the following quotation, presumably from Adams, right? And here's the quotation. He puts right at the beginning of his God Delusion book.
Mm.
Isn't it enough to see that a garden? What? You're laughing already?
I'm just thinking these guys. Okay, it just gets our goat when we hear about the God Delusion. You and me are like, we pick up these books at Barnes and Noble. We're like, what? Okay, go on. Sorry.
Isn't it enough to see that a garden is beautiful without having to believe that there are these fairies at the bottom of it too?
There are. And gnomes.
Okay. So, obviously Dawkins thought this was a pithy little stab, little
Right.
critique of theistic beliefs, right? Hey, we don't have to be like these silly people that believe in fairies, right? Can't you just look at the garden and live a life appreciating the garden, appreciating its beauty, without having to get all caught up in some ridiculous idea of there's some fairies underneath the garden?
Mm.
But what the guy pointed out, the person debating him, was like, no, if you look at a garden, right? He's saying you're throwing out like a straw man. Nobody's saying that there's fairies, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
but if you look at a garden and it's a well-organized, well-designed garden, it's not that there are fairies that had anything to do with it living underneath it, but we understand that there must be a gardener, right? If you see it's all laid out in clear, it's like the most fundamental neurosis behind what drives him is just revealed so clearly. Like right at the first thing he puts in his book, just reveals just the simple ignorance. It doesn't matter how intelligent he is, how many degrees he has, how much his mind can compute. He's got issues, so that he can't even see what's so clear, right? It's like, if there's a garden and it's well organized, is it enough just to appreciate the beauty of the garden and not think that there's a gardener behind it? No, it's not enough if you want to really understand what that garden is. But even a child can understand that there must have been a gardener who created this garden.
Yes, he's got issues, not like us.
He's got issues.
We're really above issues. You and me.
Well, not those kind of issues. I mean, that's a fundamental issue the guy has. It's just like,
yeah, yes.
Okay.
I like this. Philosophers' intense sincerity is their God. I like this whole thing. Is their God consciousness? I like that. Okay. So now Sukadeva Goswami is the narrator, and he's talking, and he's talking about another very interesting place here. It's called Ramyaka Varsh.
Yeah, we're going to hear the prayers of money.
Okay. In Ramyaka Varsh, where Vaivasvata Manu rules. So there's some higher being out there above the rock that was lifted, right? There's a higher being.
Okay.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead appears as Lord Matsya at the end of the last era.
What does Matsya mean?
Matsya means a fish.
Yeah, it came as a fish.
There's a big fish god. See? It's not just anthropomorphic. It's fishomorphic as well.
He can come in any shape or form as his Leela, as his play. If you could morph into a fish, would you try it, Raghunath? At least for some time?
It depends.
No,
if there was water around.
That's what I'm saying. Well, there was tons of. He came
flapping.
He came when there was a flood. If there was a big flood, it's okay. I'll turn.
Then I would definitely morph into a fish.
Okay, thank you.
Or a shell. Okay. Okay. I need Mara's finger to point me.
Vaishvashvata Manu.
Vaishvashvata Manu now worships Lord Matsya in pure devotional service and chants the following mantra. So here's this great controller of the universe, and he is submitting to this higher power.
Right.
Okay. I offer my respect. Here's his prayer to Lord Fish. Sounds weird, but that's what it is.
Literally.
I offer my respectful obeisances to the personality of Godhead, who is pure transcendence. He is the origin of all life, bodily strength, mental power, and sensory ability, known as the Matsya avatar, The gigantic fish.
descending fish.
incarnation. The descending fish. He appears first amongst all incarnations. Again, I offer my obeisances to him.
Okay.
I've never been to a Matsya avatar temple. Have you?
I don't know of any.
I don't know of any fish temple.
But if you want to find one, I think a good place to go would be Ramya Kavarsha.
Yes. I thought you were going to say the aquarium. Where all the fishes worship this one lord of the fish. My dear Lord, just as a puppeteer controls his dancing dolls, and a husband controls a wife. What?
I think we could just, culturally understand
Chalk that up to that. This was thousands of
it's
years
really
ago.
just saying a husband has a responsibility to, and he's supposed to step up and be responsible,
Okay.
That's how I understand.
Your lordship controls all living entities in the universe, such as the brahmanas, the kshatriyas, right? The warriors, the mercantile people, the laborers. Although you are in everyone's heart as the supreme witness and the commander and are outside of everyone as well, the so-called leaders of societies, communities, and countries cannot realize you. Only those who hear the vibration of Vedic mantras can appreciate you. My lord.
No, hold it. I got a little something to read, a little from the commentary here.
Okay.
This actually speaks to your whole ant thing and everything too, I think. I remember.
Wasn't that a great realization though? As I lift up that stone?
No, but you went the wrong way. You went, I am the unit. No.
Well, I am to them. I am. I know I'm not.
Okay, well, but the whole point is, so then you zoomed one way and then you had to turn zoom the other way and said, I am an ant. That's what you.
Well, then I did. I fell to my
Okay,
knees.
as long
I
as you
held
did
that stone over my head and said, my lord, you are my lord.
Okay.
I didn't do that. Holding the stone over my head.
Okay, so this is Prabhupada writes this. He says, he speaks of Krishna as Antarbahi.
Antarbahi. He's
present
inside,
with
huh? He's Antar means like in our heart, right?
And
Within
Bahi
us.
means
I don't know.
the other way, within and without.
Okay, he's within us and without us. Like we say, Tu antaryami, tu hibigante, tu etuke radha. You are in and out. You are my night and my day. Hey Ram, hey Ram.
Bahir Nursingha Hridaye.
Bahir, yes.
Right? You're without and Hridaye, and you're also within my heart.
Yes.
Lord Nrsingadev. Okay, so he's Antarbahi, present within and without everything. One must overcome the delusion caused by the Lord's external energy. This is, boom. One must overcome the delusion caused by the Lord's external energy. Here's a life mission right here, right?
What?
To overcome the delusion caused by the Lord's external energy and realize his presence both externally and internally. But you see, what this debater was also saying was like, it's like you're looking into a painting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, paintings are created by someone, right? Obviously, if we look at if someone handed you the Mona Lisa and you saw it for the first time, it would be absurd to say, "Oh, this just by chance, like all this paint fell onto this canvas in this pattern." The subtle smile, the
of course, when
eyes
there's
that seem to be
creation, there
looking
must
at.
be a creator, like a painting. There must be a painter.
But one could say, "Well, I'm looking deep into the painting, and I don't see any painter." There's no evidence of a painter.
I'm analyzing the paint. I'm putting the paint. I'm putting the whole thing under a microscope. I'm not seeing it. You're trying to break it down to these fine like atoms and dissect the whole thing. You got to zoom back and see there's an intelligent source behind and a creative source.
And well, isn't it enough to just enjoy the painting? Well, in one level it is, but if you really want to understand it, you have to understand that someone painted it. Okay, so one must overcome the delusion caused by the Lord's external energy and realize his presence both externally and internally. In Srimad-Bhagavatam 1.8.19, Shrimanti Kunti Devi, so Arjuna's mother, right? Arjuna from Bhagavad Gita, his mother Kunti prays there earlier in Bhagavatam. She says, Shrimati Kunti Devi has explained that Krishna appears in this world nato natyadharo yata.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly like an actor dressed as a player. Now, this is speaking to him appearing as a fish, right? Like, I'm going to
Yeah.
come as a fish now. I can
Yeah.
put on, wear the fish body. In Bhagavad Gita 1861, Krishna says, Ishvara samabhutanam hridesha Arjuna tishtati, that the Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna. The Lord is situated within everyone's heart and outside as well. Within the heart, he is the super soul, the Paramatma, the incarnation who acts as the advisor and the witness. Yet although God is residing within their hearts, foolish people say, I cannot see God, please show him to me. All right, he's within, he's everywhere. We just need to cultivate the vision to see it. One must overcome the delusion caused by the Lord's external energy to realize his presence, both externally and internally.
So
it's
good.
life's mission to not just know it theoretically, but to actually know it, with deep realization.
I like this idea of just changing your shape to any other form you like. Imagine that. We're doing the program in New York City at the Bhakti Center. It's like, Kastuba came as a squid tonight. Now what are we going to do? In his squid incarnation.
Cute, Raghunath, cute.
All right.
Okay, text 27.
Continuing on. Text 27. My Lord, from the great leaders of the universe.
Yes.
Love this. It's like a comic book, isn't it?
Do you really need to live in a child's world? I mean,
well, when you say things
Let
like
me give you
this,
some
from
Transformers,
the great
Raghunath.
leaders of the universe.
Yeah.
It sounds like a child's world, right? Such as Lord Brahma and other demigods, how to down to the political leaders of this world.
So
right?
Start it again.
Just like my Lord, from the great leaders of the universe, such as Brahma and other demigods, down to the political leaders of this world, they're all envious of your authority. Okay, back to the rock analogy. I pick up the stone. I think I'm the Lord Master.
You see? Yeah,
and
right.
Listen. And then there is like a big bug under there, like, yeah, this is my turf. These guys are all working for me. You're not so big. He's the leader of that whole colony down there.
Yeah.
They worship them. And every like
it's a macro micro thing going on.
It's a macro micro thing. And there's the queen bee and there's the king bug and all this stuff. And now I think I'm the great destroyer of these guys. And of course I could be crushed like a little bug myself.
So Manu, who's he speaking about? He's speaking about his father, Brahma. Right. He's speaking about Indra, this powerful, universal ruler. Because in Bhagavatam, we see both of them become confused and think they're number one at a certain point, right?
Sure.
There's nothing beyond me. Okay.
Sure. Where am I? Okay.
My Lord, just start over. My Lord.
My Lord. From the great leaders of the universe, such as Lord Brahma and other demigods, down to the political leaders of this world, they're all envious of your authority. Without your help, however, they could neither separately nor concertedly maintain the innumerable living entities within the universe. You are actually the only maintainer of all human beings, of animals like cows and asses,
bugs,
and of plants, of reptiles, birds, mountains, and whatever else is visible within this material world. Oh, Almighty Lord, at the end of the millennium it's not a millennium, really.
Let me read just a little.
Millennium is only 1,000 years, right?
I think millennia can be used to refer to 1,000 years or also to like a very long period of time. Maybe American.
Okay, maybe it's okay.
Prabhupada writes here, it is fashionable for materialistic persons to compete with the power of God when so-called scientists try to manufacture living entities in their laboratory. Now, Prabhupada is going to get to the issue. Their only purpose is to defy the talent and ability of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like, that's why scientists are trying to create life in laboratories right now. It's just to prove that there's no God. It's like kind of like it's their mission. It's not that they're sincerely just searching for truth. They're trying to substantiate what their desire is, Um,
that they've got it all figured out, and we're just like a couple steps away from cracking this,
yeah,
you know,
we
Rubik's
don't need a
cube.
God behind all this. There's no one greater than us. There's no one greater than me. This is called illusion. And then Prabhupada
Right.
says it exists even in the higher planetary systems where the great demigods like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and others reside. In this world, everyone is puffed up with false prestige, despite the failures of all their endeavors. All our endeavors fail in the end. Still.
It's pretty true.
Okay.
Everybody's a little arrogant. You could be like good at nothing and still be pretty arrogant.
Yeah, it's a macro micro thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's always
I
someone.
get pretty arrogant, and I'm not good at much.
You know, that's it's so interesting, right? Like
You sometimes can't help it. You can't help it. You're just overcome by your own, like, yeah, I'm so smart. Me and Mary, I do this thing where we catch ourselves sometimes. Just the other day, we're just talking, and what was I doing? I was like correcting the universe. I was like, yeah, they should do it like this. They should do things like that. Now, what are we thinking doing it like that? And Mary just goes in a really funny voice. She goes, "We know everything." And it's so funny when you act like you actually can, you've got this whole plan figured out. And we're like yelling at the news channel and what are they thinking? Why would they do this? Like, and what do you know? What do you know, you genius?
Well, you know, Raghunath, you see, because we take our philosophy that we get from these texts and the theology that comes along with it, right?
Yes.
And we begin to try to apply to the world. And you can see like, okay, let's recognize the macro micro thing that's taking place on all levels.
Yeah.
Right? Let's look at it. What's being pointed out here is that it's common that it's very easy that one begins to become arrogant of whatever little power they have. But if you zoom out, you see that then they become the ant. Right, you lifted up the rock and said, "I'm the universal destroyer." Then we can zoom out and see you're getting destroyed, you know. And then we could zoom out and see that there's someone controlling that controller, and zoom out and there's someone controlling that controller. We tend to approach that macro micro kind of hierarchy with envy, and we elevate ourselves. Then you take a book like Srimad-Bhagavatam Rita by Sanatana Goswami.
Oh yeah.
Where it kind of plays with it in the other way, where like there's one boy, he witnesses a brahmana. He goes to, where was it? He went Prayag, right? In this holy place on the bank of the Ganges River. And he looks at this brahmana he's doing his rituals, his meditative rituals. And that brahmana has certain followers like that are serving him and gaining spiritual insight from him. They have a beautiful guru disciple dynamic going on.
He's eloquent. He's lovely. He's attractive.
He's got it all going on. And the boy says to him, "You seem to be like the most fortunate person in the entire universe. Look at you. You know, it's just like you got your whole spiritual thing going on. You got your poise. You got your dignity. You got your insights. And everybody's like, people are naturally responding to it. You know, they're getting behind you. You're the man. You know, like you are." And then he says, "No, zoom out. I'm nothing. Right? You think like I'm doing nice ritual. You think I got followers, and this, you got to go down to South India. There's this king down there, right? You see him. Okay, I'll go check him out. Okay, so we zoom out the next level, right? And there he meets that king, and the king is doing ritual on just a whole nother level. And he's got a whole kingdom behind him. That's just like they're all gaining from his example, right? And they all love him with the full hearted, and he's just representing on such a powerful, beautiful level. And so the boy goes up to him, "You're number one. You're the guy. You know, you're the most fortunate person that exists. Me, I'm nothing. You got to see Lord Indra on the higher planets." He goes to Indra, same thing. Indra, me, I'm nothing. You got to go still higher. You know, and it just goes up level by level by level. There's always this hierarchy. Are we going to approach it with arrogance? I'm number one. Or are we going to approach it with humility? You know, like I'm nothing. And that's actually, you know, they call that, a lot of what we're trying to do is let go of what they call Purusha Abhiman. Right? Abhiman means the mentality. Purusha, you know, in one sense, it can be interpreted as male, like letting go of the male ego. Or just, you know, the Purusha is the original controller of the universe, you know? So it's just like letting go, understanding we're talking about yesterday, right? Who am I? I'm a tiny, 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 tiny spark of incredibly pure, bright spiritual energy. That's what I am amongst unlimited others. And that's a beautiful, fine position to be in, you know, connected to, eternally connected to that supreme source. And through that supreme source, connected to every other living being. Accept that truth, that absolute truth, and we can be happy. Otherwise, we battle it in this world and we get, you know, what was it Anthony Hopkins said? Let me go back to that. He said, through the blows of fate, right? Otherwise, we're going to have to become softened from that Purusha Abhiman. And if we can't accept it as it's being taught in these beautiful texts that are shared with us, then we have to learn it through the blows of fate. Right. But either way, we got to let go of that Purusha Abhiman, of that I am the man. Right.
Oh, this was a good show today. You know, and I wish you saw me yesterday lifting up that rock.
I
And,
do
you know,
too.
There's something about a child that lifts up a rock and sees like, quote, insignificant beings.
Yeah.
You get a feeling of almost power. Like, I've got to destroy you all.
Raghu, why?
Well, it's just, I'm not saying it's a good thing,
Okay.
but there's that feeling like I am so powerful. See, I knew I was powerful, and here I am, powerful. You know, and sometimes a kid or even an adult, of course, they'll just like kick their foot through it, right? And the ants are just like running for their life, scattering, regrouping.
Let me
Anyway,
ask you.
I didn't
when,
do that.
When the world started to turn orange yesterday, did you begin to feel like an ant?
You know what? Good point. I was sort of like, this whole universe is out of our hands. That's what I started to feel.
Yeah,
like
I'm just
that.
this tiny little ant, and like, you know, someone may.
Here we're arguing politics, and all of a sudden we could just be consumed by you know, because if you didn't know what was going on with forest fires, you could think, is it like the end of the universe? Is this like a comet has hit something and you know, it's an asteroid? I mean, let's face it, we're arguing politics and all these things, and
chasing
get hit by a freaking meteorite in a moment.
Yeah.
It happens.
Okay.
Today's the day the meteor is coming, and we just found it out. It's coming. It's been off our radar. Now it's on the radar, and goodbye. Like, that's how like helpless we are. In the same way, the guy lifts the rock and kicks his foot through the ant colony.
Did you see any of the photography coming from the city?
No.
Because in the city, it all looks so surreal, you know?
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, you're looking down, the sky is orange, and it's like, yeah, it was bizarre, man.
I got to check in with my mom.
What's
She'll
going
say
on?
something like, I think it's the end of the world. Okay, we got some takeaways, sir. We got to get going. We got a yoga retreat going on, and I got a 9-year-old who's got his last day of school.
Okay, and we can turn the cameras back on now, right?
Yeah, turn them on, Miss Mara. Or all right, you could turn them on yourselves. Mara said.
We are meant to soften our heart to love God.
Yeah,
There you go.
It's all a miracle.
Thank you, Mary.
it's a miracle. Who sang that song?
Miracle come to.
It's such a 70s song.
That's what's his name? Barry Manilow.
Okay,
Let our
he was the worst, wasn't he?
I played that song for you on the show before, right? Like at the end of the show once, because you were so into the Krishna miracles. Do you remember?
Okay. Amy Stellar says, no, he was not the worst. Okay, sorry.
That? He was not the worst.
I thought we were all going to wholeheartedly agree. Yes, Barry Manilow is the worst.
Well, he did write all the lingo, all of the commercial jingles that you
did he?
with such joy go back to. He wrote tons of those. Yeah.
I can't sing without you. I can't. Okay, what else we got, Mayor? Sometimes I get into these takeaway squirrels.
Let our search for truth be unmotivated.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
We are all just arrogant ants.
Like that one. We're an arrogant ant.
We're the arrogant ants.
I am your overlord.
Adam and the ants.
I was living a crazy fantasy alone in my backyard with that stone over my
I am your
head.
overlord.
I actually said that out loud.
No, Raghu.
I swear to God, I did.
Okay.
Cultivate the vision to see God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kastuba. Cultivate it.
All right.
All our endeavors fail in the end.
Mwah, mwah.
The world turns orange and we're all ants.
Oh man.
Yeah, let's stay with this ant thing for a while.
And
And
Raghu is the universal destroyer of the little ants.
Oh,
yeah,
is
I
that what
could
you
be.
want to be,
Could
Raghu?
be. I could be if I wanted to be.
Look, the ants could destroy you too. You know, they could come
No,
back.
they can. They can lift like something like 100 times more than their body weight, something like that.
You know, you could find yourself in a situation where you're buried up to your neck in the
And the
desert.
ants are covered me, and
Yeah,
someone
and
smears my
now
head with
who's the
honey.
overlord? Now who's the overlord?
like in the Amazon, things like that happen all the time.
It does, I'm telling you.
Oh my God. Anyway, thanks for joining us, everybody. We have 200-hour Bhakti Vinyas yoga teacher training at Super Soul Farm this summer, July 13th to the 28th, with me, Hot Cindy Yoga, and Hot Bobby Marchand. So make sure you check that out on my link in my bio. We also have a retreat with me and Miss Lori Pag. That's going to be great. That's in September. That's in my bio. That's a yoga and bhakti retreat. And then we're going to have a full-on chant your little heart out retreat for those who love kirtan with me and Gauravani at the farm. I think we should do a Kastuba retreat. Just Kastuba. Kastuba? What do you think about that?
I'm down. You tell me what you want me to do. I'm your servant. You tell me.
Really? You're my servant, because I'm coming to New York this weekend. And I've got some things for you to do. I've got them.
Park the car.
Park the car, servant. You
Throw me
didn't
the
call me
keys.
Prabhu, didn't you? Oh, look at everybody sort of
Hey.
half-heartedly clapping here.
You know, we're having our
You guys are sort of lame here. There we go.
we're having an extravaganza down here today. We got our Divyas. We're meeting at Divyas tonight, like Wisdom of the Sages people.
Oh, today we're already into the Rath Theatra celebrations. We got Madhava tonight. We're excited for that.
You know who?
Oh.
Hey, Raghunath, I'm just about to one up you,
You're about to one-up me? Who do you got tonight?
Radhanath Swami.
You got Radhanath Swami tonight? Wait a second. Wait. You got Radhanath Swami. Where are you seeing Radhanath Swami?
He's coming to the Bhakti Center tonight. It's Thursday night kirtan, baba.
Really?
He may come
Really?
late for it, but he's at least going to pop in. I wouldn't be surprised if he leads kirtan.
I wouldn't be surprised if he came up with Madhava.
I would.
I'm surprised. I wouldn't be surprised about that. He's
I
known
would
to
be
do
very
things like
surprised.
that. Known to do things like that.
Sorry to one up you there, Raghunath, but you're like, I got Madhava coming up. And I'm like, yeah, Madhava, I got two Madhavas coming up, and Radhanath Swami.